New Zealand's North Island contains most of the country's active volcanoes: Ruapehu, Nonaroi and Tongariro. Ruapehu erupted as recently as 1995 and 1996. Hot springs, geysers and mud pools also form part of the volcanic system centered around Rotorua. White Island is the summit of two overlapping volcanoes and one of New Zealand's most active volcanoes, with about 35 small to moderate steam and tephra eruptions since 1826. In 1914, a landslide killed 11 men at a sulphur works. New Zealand is sometimes called the Shaky Isles because of the number of earthquakes. The last fatal earthquake was on the west coast of the South Island in May 1968. 3 deaths resulted. Each year, some 400 significant earthquakes are recorded in New Zealand, of which roughly 100 are not likely to be felt. The biggest New Zealand earthquake in historical times was near Wellington on January 23, 1855. It had a magnitude of about 8 on the Richter scale, and it was felt over about 940,000 square kilometres, tilting a block of land 50 metres wide and 190 kilometres long. In Wellington, the uplift was 1.5 metres. Great stretches of shore became permanently exposed, including what is now the airport. The centre lay along the Witpura Fault, whose horizontal movement is estimated to have been at least 12 metres, compared with about 6 metres for the 1906 San Francisco earthquake. Despite this huge movement, only 12 people died in the quake, because Wellington was still sparsely populated at that stage. Glaciers. Nowhere else in the world do glaciers come so close to the coastline outside of the polar regions as they do in Westland, New Zealand, in Westland National Park in the South Island. The Franz Josef Glacier and its neighbour the Fox Glacier have been advancing in recent years because of record snowfalls on the southern Alps. The Routeburn Valley is a spectacular valley found in the Fiordland National Park. These U-shaped valleys are the result of glaciers. The fjords in the park are valleys similar to this one, except the valley floor is below sea level. There are many great walks in the park, including the Milford Track and the Routeburn Track. Weather and climate. New Zealand experiences summer from December to February and winter from June to August. New Zealand has what is known as maritime climate, as opposed to the continental climate of larger land masses. Climate and weather conditions in the seas around New Zealand can cause rapid weather changes. Rain is more evenly distributed in North Island than in the south. The weather is affected mostly because of the mountains and prevailing westerly winds. The climatic conditions are quite different depending on the season and region. The warmest areas are the northern and eastern part of the North Island, and the coolest areas can be found in the south of the South Island. Average temperatures in the summer are between 19 and 23 degrees Celsius. In the winter months, the coolest areas are inland Canterbury and central Otago, whereas it's warmer in the northern part of the North Island. Average temperatures in winter are between 10 and 14 degrees Celsius. One of the warmest places in New Zealand is Auckland. with a maximum temperature per year of 24 degrees Celsius and a minimum of 12 degrees Celsius. The most northerly city is the Bay of Islands, which is only slightly warmer than Auckland with a top of 25 degrees. Windy Wellington, as they call it, is located just north of the Cook Strait and is the windiest place in New Zealand, and is 4 degrees Celsius cooler than Auckland at 20 degrees. Christchurch and Queenstown are in the South Island and have an equal maximum top of 22 degrees. In the winter months, the temperatures are as follows: Auckland, 15 degrees, Bay of Islands, 16 degrees, Wellington and Christchurch, 12 degrees, and Queenstown, 10 degrees. The highest rainfall in a year in New Zealand was a drenching 18.4 metres in 1997 to 1998 at the Crop River on the west of the South Island. By contrast, the lowest rainfall was a tiny 167 millimetres in 1963 to 1964 at Alexandra, Central Otago. Due to the moderating effect of the ocean, summer and winter temperatures in most New Zealand locations differ by less than 10%. The most continental climate is found in the South Island in Central Otago, inland from Dunedin. Here the temperature reaches 24 degrees Celsius on an average day in summer, while in winter it falls to -2 degrees on an average night. Rainfall is a semi-arid 350 millimetres per year. In comparison, annual rainfall in other New Zealand locations is Christchurch, 633 millimetres per year due to the Southern Alps, Wellington, 1,250 millimetres per year in the central location with no mountains, and Auckland, 1,200 millimetres per year in central location with no mountains. General geography. Mountain ranges and hills dominate New Zealand's landscape. One of the most striking physical features is the Southern Alps, larger than the French, Austrian and Swiss Alps combined. These, along with fjords, glaciers and lakes, and the coastal plains of Canterbury and Southland, add to the variety of the South Island scenery. New Zealand has been greatly affected by its position on the edge of two tectonic plates. The boundary between the Pacific Plate and the Australian Plate bisects the North Island and the South Islands of New Zealand, resulting in extensive mountain range uplift and volcanic activity. Generally, it is always a bit cooler in the South Island. The Southern Alps act as a weather barrier down the South Island, leading to a wetter climate on its western side and a drier climate on its eastern side, on the eastern side of the mountains. In winter, you'll find snow in the Alps region and many other places too. In the North Island, the western part is also wetter than the eastern part. The tourist capital of the North Island is Rotorua. It sits on the edge of a large lake in the crater of an ancient volcano. The entire area is thermally active, and the smell of sulphur is never far away. Peer into the bright blue glacier ice. Smell the sulphurous steam from a soothing geothermal vent. Delve into the limestone underworld, or watch a waterfall plunge more than 600 metres into one of the world's deepest fjords.